Dear students, in the previous class I have given you two questions and I hope you have found the answers. Anyway, let's see the answers of these questions. The first question is that what does Sahib look for in the garbage dumps? The answer, in the garbage dumps, Sahib looks for useful items which can be sold for cash. As these items can be traded for money, they are just like gold for him. Second question, to which country did Sahib's parents originally belong? Why did they come to India? Sahib's parents belong to Dhaka in Bangladesh, where they live amidst green fields. They and the other ragpickers left their homes many years ago and migrated to India in search of livelihood. As their homes and fields were destroyed in storms, this forced them to come to India, where they settled in the slums of Simapuri. Now, let's see the remaining parts of the story. The paragraph begins. After months of knowing him, I asked him his name, Sahib-e-Alam. He announces. He does not know what it means. If he knew its meaning, Lord of the Universe, he would have a hard time believing it. Unaware of what his name represents, he roams the streets with his friends, an army of barefoot boys who appear like the morning birds and disappear at noon. Over the months, I have come to recognize each of them. In this paragraph, the writer says that she has known Sahib for a few months. When she asks him his name, he replies as if he is making an announcement that his name is Sahib-e-Alam. The writer thinks that the boy does not know the meaning of his name. And if he comes to know that his name means Lord of the Universe, he will not be able to believe it. His name is opposite to his life. He goes around the streets with a group of friends, and other feels as these boys like an army of boys who does not wear any footwear. They appear in the morning like the morning birds and disappear at noon. The writer can recognize all of them as she has been seeing them for the past few months. Next, why aren't you wearing chappals? I asked one. My mother did not bring them down from the shelf, he answers simply. Here, the writer asks one of them that why is he not wearing any footwear? The boy simply replies that his mother does not get them down from the shelf as they are beyond his reach. He does not wear them. Next, even if she did, he will throw them off, adds another, who is wearing shoes that do not match. When I comment on it, he shuffles his feet and says nothing. I want shoes, says a third boy who has never owned a pair of all his life. Traveling across the country, I have seen children walking barefoot in cities on village roads. It is not lack of money, but a tradition to stay barefoot is one explanation. I wonder if this is only an excuse to explain away a perpetual state of poverty. The author asks another boy who is wearing a different shoe in each foot, says that even if his mother would have given him the footwear, he would have thrown it away. That means he does not like to wear it. The writer asks the second boy the reason for wearing a different shoe in each foot. He does not reply and shuffles his feet as he tries to hide the shoes. A third boy speaks that he is eager to get a pair of shoes as he has never owned one all his life. The writer takes the examples of shoes to highlight the condition of these boys. They search the garbage dumps looking for such a precious things. She further tells us that as she travels across the country, she has seen many children walking barefoot in the cities as well as the villages. The reasons that they were barefoot not due to lack of money to buy footwear, but being barefoot is a tradition for them. The writer wonders and concludes that the reason of it being a tradition is a mere excuse to hide the fact that they are so poor that they cannot afford footwear. Thank you.